The haunting reality of Gaza unfolds as a slow-motion catastrophe, where 2 million human souls endure what no population should ever face. This 25-mile strip of land, smaller than most major cities, has become the world's most visible monument to human suffering. A place where children grow up knowing nothing but blockade, bombardment, and betrayal by the international community. Since 2007, Gaza has existed in a state of suspended animation, caught between Israel's crippling siege and the world's indifferent gaze. The United Nations warns Gaza will be unlivable by 2025, but for those trapped inside this open-air prison, that threshold was crossed long ago. This isn't just another Middle East conflict. It's the systematic dismantling of an entire society before our eyes, broadcast in real time, yet somehow still ignored. The blockade on Gaza represents one of the most comprehensive systems of collective punishment in modern history. Israel controls all land crossings and maintains a no-go buffer zone that swallows nearly 35% of Gaza's arable land. The sea, once Gaza's lifeline, has become a watery prison where fishermen risk being shot for venturing beyond 6 nautical miles. Egypt's complicity in keeping Rafah crossing sealed for months at a time completes the stranglehold. The results are catastrophic. 80% of the population depends on international aid for survival. Unemployment has soared past 50%, and the healthcare system teeters on total collapse. Power plants operate at 10% capacity, leaving hospitals to rely on generators that frequently fail during critical surgeries. Children study by candlelight when they can attend school at all. Over 60% of schools now run on double shifts due to bomb damage. Beneath Gaza's streets lies an invisible time bomb. The coastal aquifer that provides 95% of the territory's water has been so over-extracted and contaminated that UNICEF warns it may soon collapse entirely. Seawater infiltration and sewage leakage have rendered 97% of Gaza's water undrinkable by WHO standards. Families spend nearly a third of their income on expensive trucked-in water that may still carry disease. The water crisis exemplifies Gaza's paradox. Solutions exist: desalination plants, water treatment facilities, but the blockade prevents materials and fuel from entering to build and maintain them. Children now suffer from kidney diseases typically seen in the elderly, while waterborne illnesses account for 26% of all Gazan childhood diseases. This isn't just scarcity, it's hydraulic strangulation. Gaza's healthcare system operates in a perpetual state of triage, where doctors must choose which patients to save based on dwindling supplies rather than medical need. The WHO reports that 40% of essential medications are at zero stock levels, while another 30% have less than a month's supply. Cancer patients die waiting for permits to seek treatment abroad. Israel approves less than half of applications. During military escalations, hospitals become both shelters and targets, with ambulance crews working under the constant threat of airstrikes. The psychological toll is immeasurable. An entire generation of children shows symptoms of severe PTSD, with UNICEF estimating 500,000 Gazan children need psychosocial support. When a 10-year-old draws pictures of bombings instead of playgrounds, we're witnessing the erasure of childhood itself. Gaza's economy hasn't simply stagnated. It's been systematically dismantled. Once thriving industries like agriculture and textiles have been reduced to subsistence-level production due to import restrictions on equipment and export bans. Israel prohibits hundreds of dual-use items from entering Gaza, including basic construction materials, leading to absurd contradictions like cement being smuggled through tunnels while entire neighborhoods lie in rubble. The fishing industry, once employing over 35,000 Gazans, now struggles with 1/5 of its pre-blockade capacity. This economic asphyxiation creates a cruel paradox. Gaza's people are denied self-sufficiency, then blamed for depending on aid. The World Bank estimates Gaza's GDP loss since 2007 exceeds 50%, numbers that translate to empty stomachs and broken dreams. The human cost, faces behind the statistics. Behind every statistic is a story that would break your heart, like the university graduate who spends 4 years earning a degree only to join 70% of youth unemployment, or the farmer who watches his crops wither because Israel controls Gaza's water allocation, or the mother who names her newborn tear gas because she went into labor during a border protest. These aren't faceless victims. They're teachers, artists, engineers whose potential is being systematically crushed. Over 60% of Gazans are refugees from what is now Israel, meaning most families have already endured multiple displacements. The blockade has now lasted so long that an entire generation has come of age knowing nothing but closure and conflict. When asked about their hopes, Gazan youth increasingly answer, to leave. This is perhaps the siege's greatest cruelty. It steals not just lives, but futures. The international community's response to Gaza's suffering ranges from tepid to complicit. While UN resolutions condemn the blockade, powerful nations veto meaningful action. Humanitarian aid becomes a band-aid solution that sustains life at the bare minimum while perpetuating the status quo. Media coverage often frames Gaza as a both sides conflict rather than an asymmetrical crisis of occupation. The same countries that sanction human rights violators elsewhere continue arming Israel unconditionally. What must be done? Ending Gaza's nightmare requires more than temporary ceasefires. It demands fundamental policy changes. The blockade must be lifted entirely, allowing free movement of people and goods. The international community should deploy monitoring mechanisms to ensure compliance rather than relying on Israel's security justifications. Reconstruction requires guaranteed, sustained funding without political conditions. Most importantly, the world must recognize that Gaza isn't a humanitarian issue to be managed, but a political crisis requiring justice-based solutions. As viewers, we have power to pressure representatives, support ethical journalism, boycott complicit corporations, and amplify Palestinian voices. History will judge us by our action or inaction. Gaza's people aren't asking for pity. They're demanding the rights every human deserves. The real question isn't why Gaza is dying, but why we're letting it happen. What you've just seen is only a small glimpse into the heartbreaking reality of life in Gaza. Behind every destroyed building is a shattered family. Behind every explosion, a child's lost innocence. This isn't just a story of conflict. It's a story of people, of pain, and of survival against all odds. But no short video can truly capture the depth of their suffering, which is why we've created a full, in-depth video that explores the untold truths and human cost of what's happening in Gaza. If you want to understand the real story, beyond the headlines and numbers, sometimes watching with your heart is the first step toward making a difference. If we happen to miss any important details, or if there's something you would like to add, please feel free to share your thoughts with us in the comments section. Your feedback is valuable, and we would love to hear your opinions, suggestions, or any additional insights you may have. Let us know what you think.